Welcome back to another great show with Sean on boxing. Obviously, today we're going to be talking about the proposed fight between Bivol Benavidez. Obviously, fights that are happening this week and this weekend, and other news that has popped up around the boxing world. So stay tuned to that. We'll be right back after this short message. Welcome back, everyone. So before we get straight to it, I wanted to focus on one interesting sort of side note that I noticed today. When I woke up this morning, I noticed that people were talking about Ring Magazine's new updated pound for pound list. And I saw quite a few of the responses on the YouTube video that I was just looking at, or the X post or whatever it was. I think it was X post. And interesting enough, it's not really interesting, but surprisingly enough, I was just on Knockout Boxing's channel, and can you be shocked or surprised that somehow he's making this into the kind of issue you would expect, right? If people had Tank Davis in their pound for pound list and feel he lost and was gifted against a opponent that is a good opponent, but not a great opponent, not even the best opponent at 130 pounds, definitely not the best opponent at 135, where he moved up to take on Tank Davis. Only to be robbed by the PBC. Interesting enough, Knockout was talking about Turkey and how corrupt all of this Ring Magazine anti-PBC stuff is because Adamus was robbed in Saudi Arabia. Well, wasn't Lamont Roach, a pro box fighter, just robbed on the PBC? What's the difference? What's the difference between those two robberies? Right? There's no difference. This is boxing, and it happens on every single platform. But to try to use that to make some sort of agenda, that's the issue. When people do that, as opposed to just be fair and say that this kind of shit happens everywhere. And then to go on to say that the reason Tank Davis is off Ring Magazine's pound for pound list is because Turkey is anti-PBC fighters, and so Tank Davis was put off the list because of that. Even though Turkey has nothing to do with the pound for pound list. There's like 18 people that are part of Ring Magazine's magazine, reporters and the such like. They all make their own list of their top 10, and that's given points. And based on the accumulation of points, that determines who the top 10 are. It's not one person like his pound for pound list determining who's on the list. It's a panel of 15 to 18 people who all do their individual pound for pound lists. And if, say, Bud Crawford is number one, then he gets 10 points for being on this list number one. He's on another list, he's at number 8, that's 18 points. And obviously all those points are accumulated. And based on who has the highest amount of points, that determines who's on the top 10 list. As simple as that. You may disagree with it, but this isn't you making a list of the fighters you like. This is 15 to 18 people making a list of the pound for pound lists they like. And then it's all based on accumulation of points. So if Tank Davis is no longer on this, that's because the media members that actually saw his fight felt that that performance no longer had them ranked on their pound for pound lists, or a few may have still had him ranked, but the point total was lower than it needed to be on the top 10. Thus, other fighters moved above him, which is really what happens. That's why when I talk about a real pound for pound top 10 is really about 15 fighters, right? And those bottom 6 or 7, 8 fighters can easily move back and forth amongst the 8th, 9th, and 10th spot on a list. When you look at the top spots, pretty much they are universally recognized that who is the top 5 fighters in boxing. Ironically enough, Knockout Boxing had Tank Davis in the top 3. The only fucking person in the universe outside of Tank Davis fanboys that had Tank Davis in the top 3. I had Tank Davis at like number 6 to number 8 in the last few, over the last year, because other fighters have done more and obviously leapfrogged him and moved past him, right? But he was still pretty high, and people were critical of me saying that why is Tank even on your pound for pound list? And I compared him to Golovkin. The domination that he had against the level of opposition he was in with. The same thing Golovkin did as a middleweight champion is what Gervonta Tank Davis was doing at 130 and 135. Never had the big names, never had the unification fights, never had the other world champions. For Golovkin, that's because they blatantly ducked him. For Tank Davis, is because his team and the PBC has maneuvered him away from those fighters, right? And that's why he couldn't be higher on a list. I mean, this seems pretty obvious. It's not anti-Tank Davis. But think about this. Think about how you're going to put Tank Davis in the top 3 of a pound-for-pound list. We know Bud Crawford is going to be up there, and Tank Davis is going to be up there. I don't know who the next fighter on his list is. It's probably not Usyk, because he probably would say that he's a heavyweight. So then you would have to say it's probably Bivol, right? Maybe a Nui, but with a lot of these American boxing channels, the anti-Anui sentiment, it's hard to believe he would even be in the top 3. But think about the top fighters in the world that people have in the top 5. Usyk, 2-weight undisputed. Crawford, 2-weight undisputed. Anui, 2-weight undisputed. Bivol, Benavidez, 1-weight undisputed. Canelo, 1-weight undisputed. Right? These are really the 6 fighters that people have in the top 6 of most pound-for-pound lists. All of these fighters are undisputed fighters. 3 of them are 2-weight undisputed fighters. Canelo's a 4-weight world champion, right? Obviously, Bivol and Beterbiev are just 1-weight world champions. But, look at the level of opposition they've been in with. Then, you think about, Bivol beating Canelo, beating Beterbiev, beating Zurdo. Zurdo currently a cruiserweight champion. Beterbiev, who was undisputed 175. Canelo, who was undisputed at 168. That's what he's done. How do you put Tank Davis above any of those people on a pound-for-pound list is beyond me. If you want to put him in number 7 or number 8, I don't have a problem, even though I think there's other fighters probably that are also in that discussion as well. But, to be in your feelings because Ring Magazine has Tank Davis off the list because he is PBC, but yet they just moved David Benavidez onto their list. Isn't he also PBC? So Turkey hates PBC fighters, is trying to hurt them, but yet he moved David Benavidez on the list, thus pushing Tank Davis off the list. Right? You can't make this shit up, because this is how sensitive many of these people are. Because the reality is, I was on the chat looking at some people, and it's ridiculous. A lot of people, people are saying, why is Devin Haney on the list? Devin Haney should be on the list. How's Devin Haney on the list above Tank Davis? Well, I'll tell you how Devin Haney is on the list above Tank Davis. He's an undisputed 135-pound champion, a 2-weight world champion, beat a pound-for-pound fighter in Vasily Lomachenko. Tank Davis has not done any one of those 3. Oh, sorry, he's done 1. He's a 2-weight world champion. But he's never been undisputed. He's never unified. And he's never beat a pound-for-pound quality fighter. So, of course, Devin Haney deserves to be ranked above Tank Davis, even though he's not as exciting, not as fan-friendly, doesn't have the knockout percentage, and hasn't been as dominant in the wins he's had. But yet he's fought higher level of opposition, right? But this is what you notice when you look at these chats and the way people try to tear other people down, all to raise somebody else up, and don't use any logic at all in how they make their lists. Garden Snake Mentality is in the house. He says, I'm curious to know your pound-for-pound criteria. Well, I think I've said this multiple times, but obviously it has to do with, activity. What have you done for me lately? You look at Ring IQ, and he will put guys on a pound-for-pound list based on historical context, right? But I don't think guys are pound-for-pound based on historical context, because it's not about what you did 5 years ago or 8 years ago or 10 years ago, because you are not that same fighter anymore. What have you done for me now, currently, right? Like people that try to put Bud Crawford at number 1, they're doing this because of an accumulation and because they're trying to push a racial narrative. But he's been one of the most inactive fighters in the top 5. You can't be above guys who are literally doing far more than you currently if you are inactive, not fighting very often, and not representing, because we don't know if you're still the same fighter, right? You fought Spence. Since Spence, you fought one guy with 10 or 11 fights in Madrimov, who just got beat comprehensively by Virgil Ortiz. So how significant of a victory is that? If you go on to beat Canelo Alvarez, now you're going to obviously catapult up that list probably to number one. But that's because of who you fought when you fought them. Obviously, accomplishments mean something. Resume obviously is important, but also so is activity and current events, right? And the accumulation of those four things. Like, I don't think, let's use who's a good fighter who hasn't really been doing much. I mean, he's got Lomachenko on his list. I think Lomachenko you could put on the list. Lomachenko didn't really lose to Devin Haney. So if you have Devin Haney on your list, you could just as well have Lomachenko on your list. Lomachenko won a title by beating George Kambosos, stopping him, something that Devin Haney couldn't do, something George Lopez, Teofimo Lopez couldn't do either. So you could understand him being on a list because of that, and of course, what he's done previously, right? But some people may say, well, he hasn't been that active. He hasn't really done that much recently. So I can understand why some people wouldn't put him on their pound-for-pound list, because it's not an all-time list. This isn't a historical fucking list. I'm a football fan. I'm a Liverpool fan. Champions League pound-for-pound rankings adjust weekly based on the quality of victories you've had in the previous week. If you won, if you drew, how did it work? And people are consistently moving up and down the list. That's what a pound-for-pound list is. I mean, some people, of course, want to cement certain fighters into that position, but we know why they want to do that. It has nothing to do with the sport. It has everything to do with the narrative. Bivol is an interesting one for me because his wins over Zurdo, Canelo, and Benavidez over the past few years have been better names than Inouye, Bud have had. Well, in accumulation, for sure. I mean, obviously, Bud beat Spence, which was a huge victory. Inouye beat, obviously, two unified champions back-to-back. One of them should have been MJ, but MJ dropped the ball. So it was to Palace and obviously Fulton. Fulton, who recently has ended up moving up in weight and becoming a champion again, solidifying what a quality win that is. But yeah, those are three great wins, right? Zurdo, obviously currently a cruiserweight unified champion. Canelo really should be still an undisputed 168-pound champion. And Benavidez, who was undisputed 175. There's nobody in boxing who's got three better wins really over a short period of time than Bivol. And that's why most people have him, right up there, potentially number 3 right now, depending on who you ask. Can you put Bivol at number 2 behind Usyk? For sure you could. You could do that. Obviously, guys like John Boxing and others would get totally pissed off if you have Bud Crawford falling behind Bivol, Usyk, and some people will have him behind Inouye as well, because Inouye's just way busier than he is. And in truth, you could have Bud at number 4, right? With Canelo at number 5. And Beterbiev maybe at number 6, since he just come off a loss, or you have Beterbiev in front of Canelo, which is probably what I would do. That's not a terrible list. The only people that would moan and begroan it are people that literally are narrative driven, because all those guys are great. They all deserve recognition. And it really just depends on how you're going to justify people being on the list at that point. But I think, I think it's okay. Opataya, Zurdo, and Janibek make your top 10 pound for pound list. What? Zurdo is not on my pound for pound list. Janibek is not on my pound for pound list. Opataya is not on my pound for pound list. What are you talking about? Why would any of those 3 fighters be on my pound for pound list? At least Zurdo and Janibek are unified champions, right? And I know that Irish has really pushed for Zurdo to be top 10. And I think in truth, Zurdo deserves to be top 10 above David for sure, Benavidez, because I mean, Benavidez has won 2 titles, lost both of them. hasn't done anything significant, really, never unified, never fought for unification. So Zerto, who's now a 2-weight world champion, obviously fought for a 3-weight world champion, lost to Bivol, who's a pound-for-pound fighter. He definitely deserves to be on the list, probably at number, in the top 10. Opataya, if he beats Zerto, okay. Now he justifiably is on the list. Janibek, well, fuck, Janibek, he'd probably be better off moving up to 168, right? Taking on fighters at that weight class. Because currently where he is right now, I don't know if you could really justify him even in the top 15. I wouldn't have Janibek in my top 15. Top 20? Okay, maybe. But what's his best win? Right? He also is a fighter who never got the big names yet, right? Obviously Andrade ducked him, and so did fucking Jaime Munguia. So those are two big names that if he had on his resume, you could obviously put him higher. But would you put him above Shakur Stevenson? Would you put him above Devin Haney? Would you put him above Tank Davis? Would you put him above Ken Shiro? Would you put him above Junto Nakatani? I wouldn't put him above any of those fighters. So, I mean, yeah. But like I say, it all depends on what you do moving forward. Everyone has a chance to obviously make their claim for pound, right? And that's the thing. When you look at a guy like Knockout Boxing with him, we know he's a Tank Davis fanboy. He's got Tank Davis in his top 3. How can you justify it? How did these guys justify Tank Davis being there? The eye test. Oh, the eye test. The only reason you put someone on a pound-for-pound list based on the eye test is because they haven't done anything to justify being on a pound-for-pound list. That's it. Oh, well, some fighters get opportunities other fighters haven't got. Fucking what opportunities hasn't Tank Davis got? Tank Davis could have fought everybody. He could have unified at 130. He could have unified at 135. He could have unified at 140. He could have unified in multiple weight divisions and just hasn't. Not because people didn't want to fight him. It's because he chose not to fight them. So it's a stupid fucking excuse that makes no sense. And everybody knows why people are saying that. Because they're trying to justify a fighter who hasn't done what he needs to do to be put on a pound-for-pound list, especially in the top 5. Hard Recoil, what's up? Welcome back. So let's get to this. I didn't want to be stuck on the whole Tank Davis situation. But I'm happy to hear that negotiations with him and obviously Lamont Roach look like that fight is pretty much going to be done. And that's great. That's what I said. I didn't think they should change the result. Drunk Irishman's in the house. He heard us talking about Zerto. Obviously, I'd rather see Tank Davis and Roach fight and let the best man win in the ring. I don't want any outside organization fucking shit up, adjusting things, and putting their dirty little fingers on the sport because we got enough of that shit already. More is not better. Anyone that watches English Premier League football understands. Less is more. We don't need fucking too many people trying to dictate the game. But let's move on. So it's kind of interesting, right? People are so quick and so happy, like True School Sports and others, to sort of shit on Turkey, look at an opportunity to sort of criticize him and rip on him. They think, obviously, he doesn't want to make the Bivol Benavidez fight. Yet, historically, he was the guy that offered Benavidez to fight against the winner. He was the guy that invited Benavidez to go to Saudi Arabia so he could go into the ring to help boost up the fight. Who chose to leave and not go in the ring? David Benavidez. It wasn't Turkey not letting him. He chose not to go. He chose to run away and not confront the winner in the ring to build that fight up. He chose not to get together with Turkey and negotiate and actually, see what Turkey's about, right? Because Canelo and Turkey had the same issue. And of course, once they sat down and discussed things, then everything was cleared up. And obviously both guys are happy now with where they are. Obviously the same situation could have happened for Benavidez, but he chose not to be involved. Very similar to Deontay Wilder, when he sat down with DAZN, was offered fucking $100 million in a 3-fight deal and chose to walk away from it and basically fuck his career up, right? All because we know he was being directed from Al Heyman and the PBC not to work with other outside promotional companies, even though it would have benefited him, it wouldn't have benefited them. And that's really what stopped this shit from happening. What's hard recoil say? I really think Benavidez should beat Beterbiev to earn Bivol fight, but that's not going to happen. Third fight would be more boring to me. Well, I don't think there's any way the third fight's going to be boring because the first 2 fights I thought were great. I thought the second fight was better than the first fight, and I would anticipate the third fight being better than the second fight because for Beterbiev, he's going to need to bring it, right? Otherwise, probably the same result is going to happen in the third fight. But I said, like, I wouldn't mind this fight happening next. It gives Beterbiev a break, and then he can take on the winner. And obviously, that's fantastic for him. If Benavidez did win, stylistically, Benavidez is a better style matchup for Beterbiev, right, than Bivol is. So, I'm not against it. I think it's great. Whatever happens, happens. But it's ironic that, of course, people are using this, even though it's Benavidez that brought up the PBC, talked about not wanting to fight in Saudi Arabia. This guy put up hurdles from fucking day one, even before he went to Saudi Arabia to the fight. Then he went to Saudi Arabia and literally fucking ran away. There was talk about putting him on the undercard against Smith, which would have been a great fight. He would have got paid big money to go to Saudi Arabia, right, to fight Smith on the undercard, a UK fighter. Obviously, we know that most Saudi fight cards are really directed towards the UK fan, not so much the American fan. Then Beterbiev and Bivol could have rematched. Then the winners of Smith Benavidez could take on the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol, right? And it's a no-brainer. It's 2 huge paydays, potentially more, that you're getting paid. The reason that's not happening is because of Benavidez, right? And I really think this is sort of a similar situation we saw with Canelo and Bud Crawford, kind of like Trump. He comes out and says things to sort of say, like, fuck that shit ain't happening, to sort of put negotiations on the table. So guys are like, oh, fuck, I'm going to cost myself money. I better, like, pick up the phone. And then miraculously enough, negotiation starts again, and then something good happens from it. And I expect this is the same. From what we're hearing, it looks like the Bivol Benavidez fight is going to happen next. And that would be fantastic. I have no problem with it at all. I feel pretty confident that Bivol is going to smoke David Benavidez. It's ironic. I was listening to Algieri and fucking what's-his-face, and they're such fucking Benavidez fanboys, like talking about how Benavidez is the A side, he's the bigger draw. See, this is that American mentality. He's the bigger draw to American boxing fans who are ignorant of the world. But he's not a bigger global draw than fucking Bivol is. Bivol's been in fights that are way bigger, way more significant than anything Benavidez has been involved in, has brought in way more money, has way more followers on social media, but then they're still going to push that same fucking bullshit. Oh, he's been on pay-per-view, put up solid numbers. He's got a huge Mexican following behind him. Really? Does he? Does he have a huge Mexican following behind him? Ironically enough, PBC didn't feel enough to push that early on until they fucking clout chased after Canelo fucking year after year after year. But okay. Third fight would be more boring to me. Not boring fight, but holding that PBC burden. Benavidez holding that PBC burden. He is, right? The PBC is stuck with 2 fighters that are left. If Tank Davis loses, which he probably just did, and Benavidez gets beat by Bivol, then what's the PBC pushing forward after that? Right? Literally, they got fucking nobody. Nobody. They have a platform with no fucking named fighters that anybody wants to watch, unless you're going to fucking retread the Charlos and Errol Spence. And that may be the only thing they have left to do anyways. But as far as this fight, I hope it happens. I think it'll shut a lot of mouths. I think it'll be hilarious when Benavidez gets beat by Bivol. Because we already saw Bivol destroy Zerto. Destroy him. right? He really made him look like he was way out of his league. And I'm listening to people acting like somehow Benavidez is going to be more effective than Beterbiev. Who fucking thinks that Benavidez would beat Beterbiev? I mean, Beterbiev would fucking destroy this kid. Would destroy him. Send him to the hospital, fucking knock him out, and send him back to the US. Benavidez, his best win is against Caleb Plant, who has no power, already got knocked out by a fucking middleweight in Canelo Alvarez. Then he beat Andrade, a guy who'd never beaten a world champion in his fucking whole career. Then he beat Vosdick, a guy who'd coming out of 4 years of fucking retirement after getting laid out, flattened by Beterbiev. And then he just beat David Morrell, a guy with 12 professional fights who's never beat a top 10 fucking fighter in his career. Never beat a top 10 fighter. I mean, he's good, but literally he's like Frank Martin. He never beat a top 10 fucking fighter in his career. So how good is he? How do we really determine how good a fighter is if he never stepped up his level of opposition to take on a legitimate fighter? But these fanboys, man, they're ridiculous. But let's move forward. Oh, shit. I was going to put the card here, but I forgot. Sorry. Obviously, this week from Australia, the PBC is going to be doing Thurman versus Jarvis, which is funny because this fight is going to be free on YouTube in the US because obviously this great connection that PBC has with Prime, obviously it's not great enough that Prime is going to carry this fight card to the American boxing public. But, oh yes, I mean, it must be a lie. Obviously, it must be something people really want. What is that? Keith Thurman, I heard they are charging $70 pay-per-view in Australia. $70 to watch Keith Thurman beat up a lightweight in Jarvis, a guy that already got knocked out by a 140-pound champion. Like, come on. I like the Russian guy that's on the undercard. That's going to be a good fight. And then you got 2 good girl fights. But, like, who fucking is going to pay $70 for that? Really? But, this is the PBC model, right? They want to fucking use old fucking washed up fighters. If Thurman wins, we know what the next thing they're going to do. They're going to have Thurman fight, of course, Tim Tszyu, right? On pay-per-view. But who the fuck is going to pay for a Tim Tszyu, Keith Thurman fucking pay-per-view fight? Like, give me a break, man. If you think anyone's going to pay fucking $70, $80 in the US for that fight, you're fucking delusional. I'd rather spend this money on a hooker. Me too. I'd much rather spend that money on a hooker or even fucking a massage, just at a reputable massage parlor, as opposed to a happy ending massage parlor. Happy ending massage parlor obviously would be much better for $70, but I don't know if that even costs that much. Probably costs more than that. These wages now, those girls need medical health for, carpal tunnel syndrome. So, but, it's ridiculous because I have no problem that Keith Thurman is fighting. I have no problem he's going to Australia to make a fight. You got to go somewhere to stay busy. He's obviously fucked his career up left, right, and center. He's done that to himself. But I don't hold it against the guy to make a living. You go to Australia, beat this guy, you get a Tim Tszyu fight, good on you. But I ain't interested in that shit. I didn't put the picture of this either. And this is a fight that I'm really excited about. I've already talked about it quite a bit. Ken Shiro Taraji is going to be in a unification fight. See, this is why Ken Shiro Taraji deserves to be on a pound-for-pound list above guys like Tank Davis, right? And David Benavidez. Because literally right now, he is currently a 2-weight world champion. He was 3-belt unified in his previous weight, 108 pounds. Now he's at 112, and he's fighting a champion in a Kui to become a unified champion in his second weight division, right? I mean, this is what we want champions to do: fight each other. Like, people act like somehow wanting Tank Davis to do this, to unify, is somehow uh, a ridiculous fucking thing for boxing fans to ask for. And you got to ask yourself, what's ridiculous about wanting another fighter to fight another champion? The same way I want Junto Nakatani to fight one of the other three Japanese champions at bantamweight is the same way I'm super excited to see Ken Shiro once again fight in a unification fight. He just moved to this weight, had one fight, right? He doesn't need to jump into a unification fight right off the bat, but he is. Then you got Anthony Olaskoga, who is going to be fighting ex-world champion Kaiguchi. Kaiguchi is trying to build himself back up. Obviously, he got knocked out by Ken Shiro in a unification fight at 108 and has since tried to rebuild himself. Now you're stepping in to face the champion at Ken Shiro's division, right? If he beats Olaskagu, you could expect Taiguchi to try to rematch Ken Shiro in unification once again. Then, of course, the young up-and-comer, Iwata, hard puncher, good knockout percentage, getting in there with a good veteran fighter in Rene Santiago. So it should be a real fun card. And if you don't know Ken Shiro, you should watch him. I've been raving about this kid for fucking years now. Well before John Boxing even knew who Inui was, I was praising Ken Shiro and comparing his style a lot to Canelo Alvarez back in the day. Garden Snake says, just to make an omelet, you have to take out a loan. $22 for a dozen eggs, I saw. Really? Yeah, that shit's going to adjust. Because, like, if you believe Trump and his team, what they're saying is, obviously, we've only been in power for, less than 2 months. So everything is still working through the Democrat system. So it's still going to take time to actually maneuver out of that. And right now, everybody's trying to do everything possible to make Trump and the Republicans look bad. You should debate Knockout Boxing on his topic. He does live debates with anybody. I've done live debates with him on his channel and on my channel. There's no point debating a radical fanboy, because what are you going to do? What's the topic going to become? He has his beliefs, which are delusional, and then I have my beliefs, which are based on fact. If you're going to have Tank Davis, a pound-for-pound top 3 fighter, J.A., explain to me how anybody could have Tank Davis pound-for-pound top 3. And this is before, obviously, his less than stellar performance against Lamont Roach, because I didn't shit on him for that. I said fighters have off nights, so it's not the biggest deal, that I'm going to hate on Tank Davis because he didn't look great. But that's why I want the rematch, because the rematch is going to give both guys an opportunity to redeem themselves. But you tell me, J.A., why would somebody have Tank Davis in the top 3? Based on what? So you want me to debate knockout. So you just tell me, what do you think would be a reason for somebody having him ranked that high? KO Boxing, before he really started pushing his channels, was pretty cool with honest takes. Now it's what's good for Tank is good for KO Boxing. Exactly. I said back in the day, he talked about all boxing. He gave predictions on all fights. He was a real boxing fan. The only problem with him, you could see that he was a PBC shill, right? Deep down inside. And that's taken over his channel, where everything else has fallen off, because he knows the people that watch his channel don't care about boxing. If he talks about all these other fights like Ken Taraji versus Akui, they're not going to watch his videos. They don't give a fuck. They're ignorant fans that don't really like boxing. They just like drama. So what does he do now? He just goes back and forth with BFTB. One's a Devin Haney fanboy. One's a Tank Davis fanboy. They go back and forth and create fucking drama and feeds. They both get paid money off of YouTube. God bless them. They're making money so that they could really just, make a solid living off of YouTube. So I don't hate on them for it, but you can't really call yourself a boxing channel if that's what you're doing, when literally every day the only fighter you talk about is Tank Davis. And with BFTB, when he's not hating on someone, he's only fucking praising fucking Devin Haney. It becomes ridiculous. But JA, where's your response? Don't be mute in the comment section now. Why would anybody have Tank Davis in their pound for pound top 3? Based on what? They talk about ticket sales, gate numbers, and contract disputes for hours. That's all they talk about. Drama, right? Like, I don't give a fuck about ticket sales or fucking gate numbers. What does that have to do with me as a boxing fan? Zero, nothing. It's not fucking relevant at all. And it has no relevance to a man being on a pound for pound list. You can have the fucking highest pay-per-view fucking numbers and the highest gates. That don't make you fucking pound for pound. It makes you the richest boxer, but that means Jake Paul should be pound for pound top 10, right? Based on these kind of fucking scenario, Jake Paul is now fucking top 7 on my pound for pound list because he's got bigger gates than Tank Davis, does better pay-per-view numbers than Tank Davis. So he makes more money than Tank Davis. He's also a promoter, so he's really pulling in the money, unlike Tank Davis. So based on that, Jake Paul is fucking easily top 7 pound for pound on Ring Magazine, right? Imagine how ridiculous I would fucking look if I said something like that. I don't disagree with you. I'm a mod in his chat, and I push back on his takes on Tank. Okay, that's my point. So if you can't have an honest conversation with someone, then what kind of debate are you going to have? Right? And if I go on his chats now, I mean, his mods are just going to fucking time me out and freeze me out anyways, because that's what people do. Now they just are afraid of the truth. Anything I said here is not hate. I don't fucking hate knockout boxing. Not at all. I praised him because he figured out how to make money and he's making money. So more power to him. But it doesn't mean I have to fucking like it or agree with it. And I have to fucking simp for what I fucking see, which is basically selling out. It's fine to be a sellout. I mean, I have nothing against it. I listened to all kinds of popular music as a kid, and you know, that was all sellout stuff as opposed to grunge and underground and stuff like that. But I listened to that too because I think an artist deserves to get paid, right? I have no hate towards someone getting money. Please do it, but it don't mean I'm gonna fucking like it. I'm gonna fucking cap for it, and I'm gonna fucking praise the takes that you're giving. No, I'm not. But maybe if I sell out and that's what I have to do to get money off of YouTube, maybe then my perspective will change. I saw a graphic that showed the top 6 earners in boxing in 2024, and Tank wasn't in there. Of course he's not in there. But you can't tell Knockout Boxing that because, you know, fucking he's got all the truth, all the real numbers. But it's like, come on, man. Like, this is the same thing, you know, BFTB and the LDBC said about fucking Wilder. That fucking blew up in their face terribly. It's the same thing he said and they said about Errol Spence. That shit blew up fucking in their face terribly. And the way Tank Davis looked in his last fight, is there any fucking wonder that people are speculating that he's going to end the same way? Because mentally, he looks fucking half checked out. On his channel, he was trying to say that Tank Davis ain't going to retire, even though Tank Davis told you he's going to retire. So he knows what Tank Davis is going to do better than Tank Davis knows. This shit's ridiculous, man, but you know, it is what it is. But let's move through this. So I thought this was funny because Berlanga obviously has a fight coming up soon against some tomato can guy. I don't know who it is. I don't even know the name. But for the rest of the year, this is his hit list. My hit list is Jaime Munguia. Obviously, Jaime is scheduled to rematch the guy that knocked his ass out, Caleb Plant, which would be a good fight. If Berlanga takes Plant on the second half of this year, I will praise that fight. I'll say that Berlanga is really doing what he should do, right? What many fighters should do. You take on Caleb Plant at this point of his career, coming back from a loss and having some solid wins. That's a great matchup. And stylistically, what an intriguing fight. Caleb Plant, obviously very slick, experienced. Berlanga, a little Canelo-esque in his feet, a little slow, plodding, but one-dimensional. Obviously, a power puncher, big like a fucking house. I would love to see that fight. That fight to me would be super intriguing. And then, of course, he said Charlo. Fucking Charlo is a mental case. Who wants to see anybody face Charlo? Except, I'll be fair. I'll be fair. I don't mind seeing Caleb Plant and Charlo fight. It's an in-house PBC fight. I won't hate on that fight. I will think there's enough backstory for that fight to actually happen. Even though Charlo is a mental case, it's not that I don't think he deserves to make money, even though he's mental. And I do think the backstory between him and Plant makes for a fucking really, really interesting fight. And it just might be the motivation Charlo needs to fucking slap some sense into him and get him back on the straight and narrow. So that fight I wouldn't mind. But anybody else facing Charlo, man, I ain't fucking interested in that. Whether it's fucking Berlanga, Munguia, fucking Canelo. Yeah, I'm not interested in anybody else fighting that guy. Not unless he comes back and looks like he's got his shit together. Bamlanga. You going to talk about Tio slapping Barboza? Barboza? He didn't even hit him. He missed. But, it is what it is. Are you shocked or surprised that those guys finally did something? Because based on the last time those guys did their meet and greet, people were disappointed that there was no fucking fireworks at all. No fireworks with Ryan Garcia and Rolly. No fireworks between Tio. No fireworks at all. And people were kind of like, that's disappointing. The only reason I really watched this is because you figure with these personalities, something had to give. And it was going to be a pretty intriguing buildup for that fight card. But nothing happened. So it's not a surprise here that something did happen. Even Barboza sort of pushed him and got in his face and sort of instigated it. So I think their teams told them they need to rev shit up a little bit to sort of help hype this shit up. But it is what it is. It's a good card, real solid. I'm excited about it. I think the whole New York outside type of thing is super fucking cool. Connecting it to a video game, I think, is really an excellent promotional mechanism for Turkey, right? You connect that, you're trying to bring in younger fans who are really video game focused and sort of bring them to combat sports. So I think that shit works, man. I think it's a good idea. It feels like yesterday, 2020, Charlo was schooling Derevchenko. Well, that's it, right? That is one or two of the best performances of his career. And then he followed that up with fucking nothing. And the fight we wanted that time was, of course, the unification fight between him and Andrade, right? That would have been the perfect fucking timing for those two guys to face each other. And then potentially the winner could have fought Golovkin for undisputed, right? And they just may have got the Golovkin fight based on getting that kind of victory underneath. But yeah, at this point, that guy got too much money, too fucking mental. Who knows what's going on? Bivol beats Benavidez. I think so. I think older Charlo had a higher ceiling than his little brother. Yeah, everybody liked the middleweight Charlo more because he had a little more power. Remember the 154-pound Charlo originally was much more of a sort of a slick boxer and mover. Never really sat down on his punches and was a little more boring than the middleweight version. But obviously things changed. The 154-pound Charlo started to sit down on his punches and became much more exciting later on in his career, and obviously accomplished way more as well. So it's disappointing, but all that group of PBC fighters, when you really think about it, they all fucking disappointed in the long run, right? Whether you're talking about Wilder, Spence, Charlo, fucking Broner. The only one still left to go is Tank, and it looks like he's going to fucking disappoint. All six of those guys, at the end of the day, you're going to look back and see that it was just really a waste of talent, that none of them ended up living up to expectation. Yes, one became undisputed, but against who? It's one of the worst fucking resumes of undisputed that you could find, right? At least he fought multiple guys, unlike Haney. But who the fuck did he fight? Castano's never done anything since. Uh, the other dude that beat him got knocked out by fucking, uh, mid-level contenders. Uh, it's nothing to write fucking home about. That's for sure. But, it is what it is. But let's keep moving through. So this is the speculation. There's speculation about who is Keyshawn Davis going to fight next. Obviously, we saw the speculation that Top Rank was trying to get a fight with him and Lamont Roach, right? And we know that obviously Shakur Stevenson offered Lamont Roach a fight if the Tank Davis fight fell through. Happy that it looks like the Tank Davis fight is going to happen, so we don't need Lamont Roach to move in this direction. That's good news, right? Even though I would have loved to see either Shakur or Keyshawn take on Roach. That would have been good, especially following up Tank Davis's less than stellar performance. That would have gave them an opportunity to really make a statement, right, by beating Roach far more convincingly. Then, of course, De Los Santos has just chimed in saying that, oh, you are so busy talking about me, but now why aren't you talking about me? Well, to be fair, nobody's talking about you because your performance against Shakur was one of the worst fucking performances in fucking boxing history. You could say Shakur was boring, but so was fucking De Los Santos. It was a really fucking cringeworthy performance on his part, right? Just as fucking afraid to open up and let his hands go. Yet he's the killer and the power puncher, right? Sean moaning and groaning. I listened to some video before. Someone moaning and groaning. Who's moaning and groaning? You take a loss or have a tough fight and we don't see you again for another year. Yeah, lack of activity. I think that's shit. It's definitely what hurts fighters, right? That's why with Devin Haney, I'm like, why did Devin Haney take a year off? He didn't need to. He could have took a tune-up opponent. You didn't have to ask for too much money. He could have fought Sandor Martin. Obviously, Sandor Martin's a dangerous opponent, but not that fucking dangerous, right? Puello just beat him. So we would expect that you could have done the exact same thing and probably easier because you are a better fighter than Puello all around. But, that's the problem. Now Keyshawn is in position because we're talking about Keyshawn. And what was another opponent that I saw him being tied together with? Fuck. It escapes me, but I saw another lead on Twitter. And I'm just excited to see Keyshawn get back in the ring. Obviously, regardless of who that may be against, whether it's a unification fight, even though that seems a little unlikely. But, I hope we get to see him soon. Why Andy Cruz? Andy Cruz has had fucking 5 professional fights. At this point, Andy Cruz doesn't deserve a Keyshawn Davis fight, right? He just doesn't deserve it because literally, who's he fought? Who's he beaten? He's fucking Cuban, so no one cares about him. I mean, I know people that are anti-Keyshawn want to see that fight. The same people that are anti-Bud Crawford, the same people that are anti-Shakur Stevens. For some reason, all these guys are grouped together with all this hate because of the amateur storyline. Most people don't even fucking watch amateurs. Most people didn't even see the fucking amateur storyline, even the Olympic fucking gold medal match. I mean, the storyline there is marginal at best. Like Shakur versus Robsy Ramirez. How much was that fight talked about? Not much. Not much at all. Or what was the other recent one? There's another one as well. But the point is, I mean, this storyline can build up more when Andy Cruz actually does something significant, right? And people are actually excited about the potential matchup. Now, they just use him as a way to shit on Keyshawn. I would love the Muratalla fight, right? The one thing they talked about potentially him, they said if Lomachenko retires, Muratalla is in position to fight for that vacant IBF title. And so obviously him being a top ranked fighter, he beats whoever is number 2 or 3, wins that IBF title. Then you can do Keyshawn Davis, right? Versus what happened? Then you can do Keyshawn Davis versus Muratalla for unification, which would be fantastic. That would be a great matchup, a great fight. Two young, hungry, top-ranked fighters fighting in unification. Maybe then the winner could take on Tank, but probably not. Andy Cruz will be 30 in August. He has to get the ball rolling. That's true, but it's ironic, right? You listen to John Boxing and others try to shit on Lomachenko because he became pro at 25, was a champion at 26. Right? They didn't feel the same thing about Oshaki Foster, who became a champion at 28, or fucking Frank Martin, who fought for a world title at 28, or fucking Andy Cruz, who's 30 years old and fucking looks like he's at least a year away from fighting for a world title. It's ironic because for me, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I saw kids that were 16 years old become world champions. I saw guys 50 years old become champions. That shit's irrelevant unless you're specifically trying to fucking hate on somebody. And that's what people were trying to do with Lomachenko, right? Talking about how, what's his face? Oh, who's the young kid for Top Rank? Oh, Mason. That Mason already is better than Lomachenko at the same point of the bubble. It's like, oh my God. What's wrong with people, man? Why so much hate? You and John have the pettiest beef on the YTBC. Why is it petty? I'm talking about boxing. His perspective is petty because with him, everything is racist. Everyone's a racist, except, of course, him and all the fucking channels he supports, which primarily the LDBC are all fucking racist. Dante, racist. Fucking Ego, racist. Right? You know, those guys are fucking legitimate racists. But he wants to continue to point fingers at every non-black YouTuber as being a racist because not everyone is fucking sucking off every fucking black fighter in the world. Why would you? I know they're not LDBC. I didn't say they were LDBC. I said they're racist like the LDBC. Come on, Jay. You're better than that. You got a lot of John in you where you fucking misrepresent and twist things out of fucking context. But okay, it is what it is. The reality is it's a petty beef because that dude has to make everything racist. He can't just talk about the sport of boxing. Right? The fact that I criticize Tank Davis, just like the LDBC does, I'm a racist. So if I'm a racist, then what are the LDBC? Obviously, they're not racist by hating Tank, but we both have the same criticism. When is he going to step up and take on fucking a legitimate fighter? That's it. The same thing we say about every single fighter in boxing. So there's no pettiness to it. It's just boxing conversation. Here's the fight that hopefully happens in 2025. But who believes that this fight is anywhere close to happening? Especially based on fucking Tank Davis's last performance. He said he wanted to fight 3 times this year. Okay, he fought once. He could fight Lamont Roach again in the summer. And then you could take on Shakur Stevenson in unification at the end of the year. That shit's dynamite. From what we hear in rumors, and I don't know if this is true, I heard Fannin say that Blue Blood is pushing the narrative, and it's not true, but there was conversation about Lomachenko and Jake Paul being the other 2 fights that really are on Tank Davis's year-end run. So I don't think he's going to fight 4 times this year, but obviously if he beats Lamont Roach, then either Lomachenko or potentially Jake Paul might be the fight for him at the end of the year. And Lomachenko would be a great fight. The problem with that is how long has Lomachenko been out of the ring, right? If you're not going to fight until the end of 2025, it's going to be fucking going on 2 years. Lomachenko hasn't fought. That don't work. And then Jake Paul, well, that's just a money grab. I'm not hating, but I'm just saying, if you're gonna hate on Canelo for fighting Jake Paul, I hope you hate on fucking Tank Davis for fighting Jake Paul too. Let's just keep that same energy. Garden Snake, thank you very much. He says, how do you like Abdullah step up opponent Cabrera? I think Top Rank consistently does things fucking excellently, right? I saw some people always acting like these fighters need to be moved super fast, but then when they get moved super fast and get beat, then people are hypercritical, like Jared Anderson getting knocked out by fucking Bukoldi, right? Like the point is, that wasn't a Top Rank move. Otherwise, he would never have got knocked out like that. You move Abdullah Mesa against Cabrera, that's a great opponent. Cabrera is a legitimate fucking contender at the 135-pound division right now. And the good thing is, he's not a hard puncher. So you're not really risking Abdullah Mason's chin, even though it looks like he might be a little chinny. You know, obviously 2 fights ago, he got dropped twice. So it makes you question really how durable he is, or if he's draining himself at like to get into 135. So he's a little more susceptible to punchers at that weight class. But I think it's a great matchup. It's the same as Porn Stash, right? Richard Torres, who's going to be fighting the Italian Stallion. I mean, those two guys should totally get into fucking porn after that fight because, you know, they got the names, they got the looks, they got it perfect. You know, that could be their side thing. But, man, that's also a great opponent. What is it? Vianelli versus Richard Torres. Great matchup. And I think that's going to be on the same card. So Top Rank does a fucking excellent job of building guys up, putting them in position to win titles, and building them up the right way. Tank versus Jake at what weight? Well, that's the thing. I mean, obviously, Jake Paul's a big dude, right? So he's not going to drain himself. So you're going to have it at like 190. So Jake Paul's going to come in fucking, say, 190 with the catch weight, you know, or sorry, with the rehydration. He can't be over 190. And then, so Tank Davis is going to come in at what, 150? I mean, you know, it's just going to be a shit show where neither guy is going to get knocked out, and then it ends up being a draw, and both guys get paid because casual fans are stupid as fuck. I won't pay for that fight, but it is what it is. If Tank Davis is going to retire and he can get a big money fight out of Jake Paul, okay. I ain't paying for it, but I understand the sentiment behind it. Loma should get back in the mix or retire. I agree, right? I would like to see him fight somebody. Like, let's look currently at the IBF rankings. Like, even if you're not going to come back and take on one of the champions, which is fair enough, because it's not like the other champions are fighting champions right now. But obviously you got guys ranked by the IBF that you could fight. Agreed, I was surprised when I saw Abdullah's next opponent. Quality name. I thought Cabrera arguably beat Pitbull. Oh, yeah. He gave Pitbull a great fight. Yeah, that was a very good performance from Cabrera, who then got destroyed by fucking Zepeda. Right? So, where are we? There we are. So, that's so weird, boxing scene. Now they put the IBF number 1. IBF was always number 3, but now in their rankings they will put IBF at number 1, WBA number 2, WBC at 3, and WBO in the same position at number 4. Weird. But right now in the IBF rankings, number 1 is not rated. Fucking IBF, man. They're such scam artists. Number 2 is Zaur Abdurev. Number 3 is Andy Cruz. How did Andy Cruz move to number 3? Who did he beat to move above Raymond Muratalla? Raymond Muratalla at number 4. Mark Maksai at number 5. Frank Martin is number 7, even though he's no longer a 135-pound fighter. And Canadian Lucas Badai is number 8. I would like to see Lucas Badai versus Sam Noakes. Right? Tell me that wouldn't be a really good matchup between young up-and-comers. And there, of course, is Padley, the guy that Shakur beat. But you get those two kids in with each other, that would be a fucking good scrap, man. Obviously, not a big name fight for Lucas, the Canadian kid, he should go to the UK, take on Noakes. But that's a good fight, man. I'll be super excited by that. Wayne Evans is in the house, late as usual. Salute, Sean and fellas. What's up, Wayne? But yeah, so Muratella's right there. So maybe what you can do is have Muratella fight Andy Cruz. I mean, Zaur Abdurev, he's had too many fucking opportunities already. But that is what the fucking IBF loves. They love the unknown fucking Eastern European fighter, jamming him on the IBF based on doing fucking nothing. Like, let's just take a quick peek just to see the IBF and how they fucking manage shit. Because we know they're corrupt as fuck, but corrupt as fuck, those guys, man. So 135 pounds. Let's see what these motherfuckers have been up to. Raymond Bertalla is ranked number 5 by BoxRec, which isn't too bad. Zaurev is number 7 ahead of Keyshawn Davis. Lamont Roach now 8. Sam Noakes 9. Yoshino at 10. Abdullah Mason is 11. How's Abdullah Mason 11 when he hasn't beaten fucking anybody? These rankings are ridiculous. And then you got Tevin Farmer at 17, even though Tevin Farmer arguably beat fucking Zepeda, who's number 4. Mexican boxing number 1's in the house. Dang, you're on this time. It's so early. Well, it's almost 9 o'clock my time, p.m. Tank fan girls get knocked out boxing. Just said that Tank won round 9. Wow. He's in denial. Knockout boxing. Just said that Tank won round 9. I can't remember specifically which one was round 9. The round where he got dropped. Well, he was winning that round, but he fucking took a knee. So in truth, it should have been an even fucking round. But okay. He had Tank at number 2 or 3 before the Roach fight. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and I said, how do you justify Tank Davis being in the top 5 on a pound-for-pound list? Because he hasn't done more than Crawford, Usyk, Anui, Bivol, Beterbiev, or Canelo. If you want to put him in number 7, I won't be upset about that. But I don't think you can put him fucking above that. Shakur should fight Andy Cruz, both matchroom fighters, and there's not many fighters willing to fight Shakur at the moment. That's true. Yeah, the knee. Round 9, I believe, is when Roach took a knee. Not Roach. Tank. Roach didn't take a knee. But yeah, so let's look at Muratalla. What has he done in 2024-5? So currently 22-0, 17 knockouts, 28 years old. In 2024, he fought 3 times, beating Zhong Jenny, a very solid win, beating Farmer, and then beating Campos. Prior to that, in 2023, he fought 3 times, beat Nakatala, and beat Torres Nunez and Galido. So in the last 2 years, he's been very active, fighting really good opposition. This guy, who lost to Devin Haney back in the day, what did he do in 2024? He fought twice. He beat Roger Gutierrez and Juan Casaco. In 2023, he beat Ricardo Nunez and Roman Abdurev. Okay. He hasn't been as active, but okay. I think that wouldn't be bad if you had Muratalla fight Abdurev. That's probably fair. And then where is my man? Andy Cruz is ranked number 23. 5-0. In 2024, he fought twice. Not good opponents. In 2023, he fought at least name opponents in Burgos. And of course, this year he fought a guy in Gamez, who I don't know. Yeah. I don't think he deserves an opportunity over the other 2 guys, but okay. I won't be upset. Virgil Ortiz beat Backrum next. I got to put him pound for pound, I think. Well, beating Backrum, he becomes a legitimate champion in his first weight division. He's not unified. He beat an ex-champion coming off of a loss, and then a top contender who got screwed out of a world title fight. So in the weight class, he's fought three good opponents, but I don't think that's enough to put him on a pound for pound list. Like, let's be honest. At 147 pounds, he didn't do anything, uh, right, outside of just becoming a top contender. Robert Garcia and Canelo were right. The rules say he should have been disqualified when the corner guy came in. Sure, but when you allowed him to turn and walk to the corner, basically at that point, as the ref, you're allowing him to do that, right? If you weren't allowing him to do that, then you would have said something, you would have counted, you would have grabbed him, you would have afterwards took a point off, you would have done something. So basically, when he stopped counting, he gave Tank permission to go wipe his face and actually break the rules, because obviously the corner shouldn't be wiping your face. You shouldn't be turning your back, and you definitely can take a knee, but you should lose points for it. Yeah, my bad, Tank. It's not, it's at the referee's discretion crap. It leaves a lot of gray area. Well, that's why they say that, because, oh, it's the referee's discretion. Okay, whatever. Like, we understand what that means. It means no one's going to get punished. It is what it is. Shut the fuck up. We know it's wrong, but we ain't changing it. And if they do a rematch, I won't complain. Mexican Boxing #1 says the New York Boxing Commission said it should have been a knockdown, but still they didn't want to turn it over. Insane. Well, sure, it's a knockdown, but you're not going to turn the results of the fight over based on a missed call. That would be insane, because that would be the wrong maneuver. You shouldn't turn the fucking score based on a missed call. If the ref made a mistake, it's a fucking mistake. You punish the ref, and then you order an immediate rematch, right? That's what you do. You can't turn the fucking result unless you're going to say it's a no contest. And if it's a no contest, that don't fucking benefit Roach. A draw is better than a no contest. And it wasn't convenient. The replay didn't work. Well, that's also the thing. You could see the fucking state was in it, because New York has totally fucking, between rounds, told the judges that it was now a knockdown. I've seen that before. So it's not like it hasn't happened before where they said, oh, last round, it scored it as a knockdown. It was a knockdown. They could have easily done that. Easily. But they choose not to. Tank got schooled by a cherry pick. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Some fighters need to do twice as much to take a break in the middle of a fight. Well, Tank, he's going to fucking bring his fucking recliner, fucking, his slippers next time, fucking robe. Yeah, it's just a bad look, especially with him talking about retirement and fucking everything else. It just really looks like the dude's checked out, right? And we'll see what happens if they do rematch, because if the going gets tough, what's Tank going to do? Is he going to crumble because at this point he's going to be even less inclined to put it all out there? Or is he going to come back and be a killer? Because, like Hagler said, it's hard to fucking wake up and run when you're fucking sleeping in silk sheets. And that's what Tank Davis, right? He's in that Canelo Alvarez fucking situation now, where he's living large, a poor fucking kid from a poor community, living like a king, right? So what's his motivation to go out there and, die for it? He don't have that fucking hunger anymore, you wouldn't think. But here we go. So this was a comment. Let me make it big so I can actually see it. What's going on? I gotta move a comment. How do I take a comment down? Mother, father. I gotta go all the way back. There we go. Okay. So here we go. So Sean Porter came out and made this statement. And Sean Porter, he's full of bad takes, but he came out and said, I've never seen a fighter with the kind of defense that Shakur Stevenson has. For me, that includes Floyd Mayweather. Man, dudes are so fucking reactionary. I think, if you want to be honest, at this point of Shakur Stevens' career, he's a much better defensive fighter than Floyd Mayweather was at the same age, 26. Floyd offensively was way better than fucking Shakur, and obviously was great defensively as well. But later on, when he became older, is when he really became really the king of defense. Shakur is already a really great defender. The problem is offensively, he's lacking, right? I mean, you can be a Willie Pep, but it's hard to win fights if you're not fucking throwing punches. And that's the problem with Shakur. He talks mad shit like he's going to go in there and beat the fuck out of you. And then he goes in there and does the same thing he always does. Right? And then he's had some really fucking terrible performances, even though we know he's talented. But you come off of a performance with that Japanese kid where you look fucking sensational. And then you go in and fight De Los Santos and it's a fucking Rigo fucking performance. And then you go on and have another disappointing performance. And then you face a fucking cab driver and put up a good performance, but okay, who are you fighting? Like, should I be impressed? You should beat that guy, and you should beat his ass easily, right? So you did what you're supposed to do. But as far as looking great, you didn't look great. Mind you, you've been out, you had an injury, you were coming off of a hand injury. So we got to give him some slack. But like, that's why we want to see him against Tank. Like, literally, that might be what these guys need right now. That real tough level of opposition. Tank fans crashing out. It's been so funny hearing them call into boxing voice with their excuses, sounding mad, then crying. Sean in denial. He called that Paddy performance A+. Who called the Paddy performance A+? Me or Shakur? Yeah, also H Money, it's so funny. All the Tank fans are getting cursed out. H Money turned into a Tank hater. Oh, Porter did. Of course, Porter did. Yeah, that's no surprise. Fucking Sean Porter. He always has terrible takes. Like, that dude comes out with takes that are as ugly as his fucking suits. So it's no surprise, no shock with the stupid shit he comes out with. Like, when you got to watch a boxing person's channel and you can watch Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi, fucking Sean Porter. Sean Porter is the least interesting, or sorry, you can throw Tim Bradley in there as well. The least interesting, the least knowledgeable, and the guy with the worst takes, right? Algieri is good, but he's too much of a yes man. Fucking Paulie is good, but fucking the problem with him is he's just so fucking angry and so negative. Tim Bradley often comes across more as a fucking top rank fanboy than anything else. So of course, you know, it is what it is. Garden Snake, both in prime. Andre Ward versus Calzaghe at 168. To be fair, I would have to pick Joe Calzaghe, and I don't pick Calzaghe because I hate Andre Ward. I pick Calzaghe because stylistically, it'd be hard for Andre Ward to get to Calzaghe, right? Calzaghe had great foot movement, was very defensively solid, hard to get to. He fought great fighters and embarrassed guys, right? You know, you could say B-Hop wasn't primed when he fought him, but neither was Calzaghe. And you could imagine a prime Calzaghe would have been even better against B-Hop because obviously his legs would have been fresher, right? Obviously, at that point, when he faced Roy Jones and Bernard Hopkins, at that point, he was much older and didn't have the legs he once had. But really good, underrated boxer. If he was black, you could imagine what people would say. Andre Ward, he's an old school B-hop type of fighter who need to make fights ugly, you know, hit you, hold you, foul you, break you down with dirty type of stuff. But let's think about who he beat in his prime that was on Calzaghe's level, right? Froch, slow fucking feet, not the boxer Calzaghe was. Kessler, oh fuck, come on, let's be fucking real. Calzaghe beat Kessler. He beat him first, and Calzaghe was old at that point of his career, and he beat Kessler, who was prime and undefeated. Kovalev, not fucking the mover that fucking Calzaghe was. Defensively, not as good as Calzaghe, not as fast-handed, more power, solid boxer. That's why most people feel that Kovalev beat Andre Ward the first time around. The problem with Kovalev is he was unprofessional, drinking too much, not taking care of himself, and really that slid into his decline. That's not Calzaghe either. Way more professional. So I would have to favor Calzaghe. Some people who are all about race this and race that, of course, they may be upset about it, but that's because they just can't give Calzaghe praise. Calzaghe, too, retired undefeated. Chris Algeria, I think his girlfriend or wife was locked up in another country. Huh? I'm not a fangirl like you delusional tank channels like Boxing Ego, Upper Echelon. Who's Upper Echelon? This is a channel. And Fan It and Knockout Boxing. Man, they're ridiculous. I agree with you. I saw a video of Ward and Calzaghe messing around slap boxing, and it got me thinking, oh, really? Yeah. Like recently or back in the day. Because, I mean, obviously Ward is a great fighter, but I don't know if Ward ever was a great mover. I don't know if he really had fast feet, great feet. He didn't have that much of a long reach for a guy his size. So I'm just not sure how well he'd do against a guy like Calzaghe, who would really be moving, really be fast, jerky, right? I don't know if it'd be a fun fight to watch. I'll give you that. I don't know if it's a fight I'd pay to watch, but yeah. It might be an interesting matchup stylistically, but probably not a fun fight. I thought this was the best. So, Tank Davis, of course, in Ring Magazine came out and said, the grease from my hair burnt my eyes. And then I saw this great meme of fucking Grease 3 starring Olivia Newton-John and Tank Davis. His worst nightmare was to become a fucking meme. And here he is as a fucking meme. Oh my God. Terrible. Terrible. Yeah, it's another one where he titled it Tank Exposes Turkey. Oh my God. These dudes are fucking ridiculous, man. With their fucking clickbait fucking titles. Fannin. Oh my God, man. The dudes fucking. These dudes are demented. It becomes fucking a sickness to be like so fucking obsessed. Like little girls to fucking pop stars. Right? They have to posters all over their walls, fucking, I mean, fucking Christ, man. It's ridiculous. And another titled video saying Tank Roach did over 5,000 pay-per-views and outsold The Last Crescendo. Bullshit. 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 Come on, man. If Frank Martin and Tank Davis didn't do 500,000 K, how the fuck did Lamont Roach, who's not nearly as exciting a fighter as Frank Martin, do fucking 500K? I call bullshit. He's so delusional. I don't know who's worse, him or Knockout Boxing. Fuck. Well, we know Fannin is mental and a liar. So I think it's Knockout Boxing because he's really fucking in puppy love. One guy I wasn't impressed with on that card is Tellez. How you going the distance with Come on, David. Fuck, man. You're like the Sean Porter of my fucking chat section, man. You and your fucking terrible takes. Telez looked great in that fight. He beat him fucking every round. Beat his ass. Basically sent him into retirement. But because he couldn't knock him out, you were unimpressed. Yet Telez is what, 23 years old? That was his first really big step up fight, I think. Come on, man. Let's be fair. Stringer from above, what's up, my man? I saw a meme of Tank kneeling down with Colin Kaepernick. Man, his worst nightmare is to be a meme, and that's exactly what he is right now, a fucking meme. It's got to be hard. Who gets the Tank fanboy channels of 2025 this year? Because all their videos are ridiculous, ridiculous. What's going on, Sean? What's up, pound for pound? All good, my man. All good. Yeah, Tank Davis, the meme. So they talking about, of course, Canelo Alvarez fight, Fatal Fury, Canelo versus Skull in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. I think it's cool that Canelo is going to Riyadh. I would have been more excited to see him in the UK, not with Skull, of course, but with like a UK fighter. But to see him go to Riyadh, to see him travel, that's exciting. Obviously, we know the Bud Crawford fight and him is going to be in Vegas if he gets by William Skull. I think people got to be fair. I do expect him to beat Skull, but Skull is prime, tall, defense first, slick fighter. It ain't going to be easy for Canelo to catch him, right? Skull going to be real safe, running around the ring. It'll be a fun fight for as long as it lasts. I'm just curious who's going to be on the undercard for this fight. That's probably going to be the most interesting aspect of this fight card. As far as the fight itself, I mean, I don't know why people hate on it. It's two champions from 168 pounds. If you don't think Skull deserves to be a champion, well, then that's a beef you should have with the IBF, because that's the IBF's doing. And we know why Saudi Arabia and Canelo are taking this fight, so he can once again become undisputed, which will give Bud Crawford the opportunity to become a three-weight undisputed champion. So if you're a Bud Crawford fan, you should be super excited that this fight is happening, because this is opening the door for your fucking wildest dreams, your wildest wet dream. Haters love to compare Tank's performance or resume to GG, but they never mention GG got robbed against pound for pound top fighter, while Roach got robbed against Tank. Well, you know, these dudes that consistently hate on Golovkin, you couldn't use Tank Davis and compare their careers, because for some delusional reason they think Tank Davis actually has done more than Golovkin, even though Golovkin was a two-time unified middleweight champion. Tank Davis is a two-weight champion who's never unified, never fought a pound-for-pound fighter. And that means he never had a draw against a pound-for-pound fighter. He had a draw with a fighter who came up in weight. I have Boxing Ego #1. So far, how he tried to say Tank excuse about the hair grease is credible. He went on for about 20 minutes thinking he did something. Yet, every fight that we've ever watched in history of fighters with cuts, none of them were allowed to have their corner fucking wipe their eyes. And if Ego really was a boxing fan that actually knew the sport, he would remember Muhammad Ali against Sonny Liston, when Sonny Liston had liniment on his glove and rubbed it into Ali's eye. And Ali was not allowed to go to the corner to get his eyes washed or rinsed out, right? These dudes are fucking full of shit. Like, never have we ever seen a fucking maneuver like that before. It is what it is, but you can't make an excuse for it, because it was wrong in so many ways. It just was wrong. I hate the Skull fight, but I heard Bacoli versus Effie Ajagba on the undercard. Oh, that's good. That'll be nice. I like that. Let's do it. You got to put fucking Bacoli in that fight and pay for it, right? After he like rescued your card and jumped in there and put himself into that vulnerable position. It'd be fucking real terrible to then just leave him hanging. Is Manguia and the Frenchman on it? That would be good if they put that on it as well. He's going for two-time undisputed. Meanwhile, Crawford is just chilling and no says anything. No one says anything. Yeah, but we understand the whole point is to do an undisputed fight with Canelo Alvarez, which means Canelo needs to be undisputed. For Crawford, he can't get beat, right? Which means it's better to not fight and just wait for the fight to materialize and then go into it. And that way, Canelo is undisputed. You didn't get beat. Now you can make the fight happen. Beautiful. Go watch the debate KO Boxing 86 did with Ring IQ. Yeah, when he ran away because his phone ran out of batteries. I never could deal with boxing ego randomly rapping in between boxing takes. That dude is so narcissistic. It's fucking ridiculous. Fucking what an idiot that clown is. Sean, Bud waiting for Canelo payday. Can't blame him now. Yeah, exactly. He's done what he had to do to put himself in position. So what do you want him to do now? Like, let's look at a situation we just saw recently. Was it this weekend? What did I just watch this weekend? Somebody was in line for a world title fight, but they got beat in their stay busy fight against an opponent they did not need to fight. It was a good fight. Both guys fucking walk away from the fight looking good, but the one guy walks away from a fucking world title fight. Now the other guy's going to get the world title fight, right? Like, sometimes you just got to be understanding of where you are. Some dudes wait for fucking year after year after year hoping to get a Canelo Alvarez fight. That shit's ridiculous. You got to fucking earn shit too. But when you already earned a world title fight, at that point, you might as well sit on your hands and wait. Once Ego made that post on X and Tank and his leg tats, I was like, something is wrong with this dude. Oh, fuck. Something's always been wrong with that dude. I would love to see my boy Nello get a stoppage. He hasn't stopped anyone since Plant. For sure. And I think he would just help promote the fight even more. If he goes in there and knocks out fucking Skull, then, I mean, the energy for a Bud Crawford Canelo fight is really going to amp up fucking a lot more. If he goes in there and struggles, looks like he's not motivated, can't catch him, his power doesn't really have that much of significant impact on him, then people are going to be like, Crawford's going to beat him. He doesn't even look good. Blah, 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 blah. He got schooled bad and he picked the topic. I think Skull is taller and longer to Canelo compared to Crawford versus Canelo. So why people don't say these 168 fighters are a mismatch? Well, everybody is bigger than fucking Canelo. Ego sucking Tank's balls. Joey Gonzalez, that's it. Yeah, is the toughest guy in the power weights, 126, 130. You go in the distance with Navarrete with a bad cheekbone. And he's the guy. He was the underdog against fucking the Korean Kazakhstanian, right? Or a Ukrainian. And the Ukrainian was in position to get a world title fight. Now he lost, and Joey Gonzalez earns another opportunity for a world title fight. Is Biden fighting anyone before the Canelo fight? No. I saw a report WBC would sanction Cabial versus Fury for interim belt. I wonder if Tyson takes it. Fuck no. Oh, WBC's mental if they think fucking Tyson Fury is going to fight Cabial for a fucking interim belt. He needs a fucking interim belt as much as I need a 6 fucking toe. Like, he could fight AJ next with no belt, and the WBC would fucking create a belt so they could fucking charge sanctioning fees and be all behind that fight, and he would make fucking tens of millions of dollars. But he's going to fight Cabial. Get fucking real. That ain't going to pull him out of retirement. Good win for him, too. I mean, toughest in the durability department, for sure. Sean, what do you think will happen in the negotiations with Benavidez Bivol? I think that's just what is going on. I think it's negotiation. I think Turkey doing what he did is the same thing he did with the whole Canelo Bud Crawford situation when he said the fight's off. I think it's just negotiation. He gets sick and tired of dealing, I think, with the PBC and the fact that they want to try to dictate stuff. So I think he's just drawing his line in the sand and saying, that's fine. You guys don't want fucking millions of dollars? Go fuck yourselves. Whatever. We don't need you. We don't need the WBC belt. Fuck that shit. Like, really? Bivol doesn't need to be undisputed. He'll make $10 million in a fucking rematch with Benavidez for fucking 3 belts. When Canelo whoops Bud, they're going to say it was due to the long layoff. Well, no, it's more to do with the fact that you're jumping up from 154 to 168. It's literally a 14-pound fucking jump in weight, right? Coming off of your first fight, your only fight at 154 pounds, where you did not look as dominant as you had at 147 pounds. Like, we know it's weight. He jumped up too much in weight, and obviously that led to him getting beat. Some people are going to be sad because it's going to be hard to say that Bud Crawford is still pound for pound number 1 with a loss, but it is what it is. Iglesias, Andy Cruz, Morrell, all 27-plus-year-olds. Who has the higher ceiling? I would say Iglesias. I think Morrell is the youngest out of them. Cruz is the oldest. But I think Iglesias probably got the most upside. What do you think, David? I know you're going to say Iglesias. Mind you, I mean, obviously Cruz is the most decorated fighter out of all of them. Iglesias, he also got that good name. If he could sing those sweet ballads, right? He's going to be fucking a fan favorite. You think we'll ever see Boo Boo versus Jamel back in the ring? Boo Boo, I think, is going to be back in the ring. I thought he's sort of already been in discussion for fights. I'm sort of shocked and surprised nothing really has popped up. You know what's also shocking and surprising? I heard Christian Billy was going to fight Sajal, but now that fight apparently is off. Right? Like, there's the rankings for BoxRec. What happened? I'm off the fucking scale now. Alvarez, Mbili, Pacheco, Iglesias, Plant, Sajo, Munguia, Berlanga, Skull, number 10. But, fucking Iglesias, man. 13-0, 12 knockouts, 27 years old, 6'2.5". Problem with him is he fucking lives in Germany. So what kind of competition and sparring is he really getting? Domestic level, right? When we think about who he fought, not bad. Kocheris, Shevchenko, Agbeko, Ivanov. But not one of those guys is a top 10 fucking fighter. Not one. Laugh out loud, the PBC has the most garbage schedule this upcoming few months. Zoo versus Spencer, garbage. Funduro fighting a nobody, garbage. The guy Jesus Ramos fighting is okay, garbage. Fucking Keith Thurman facing a fucking low-level 135-pound fighter, garbage. But people are going to act like the PBC is running the sport. It's like, give me a fucking break. I mean, that Keith Thurman fight is going to be fucking free on YouTube in America. Benavidez' team needs to keep Sampson away from the negotiation table. Who asked Canelo to the U.S. rights as the B-side? Exactly. Did you hear the chatter of Virgil versus Murda Talib? I did. We were talking about it earlier. Somebody said that if Virgil beats him, they think Virgil should be pound for pound top 10. I don't think so, but obviously it's a huge victory for him. I can be your hero, baby. I can kiss away the pain. You sound like Knockout Boxing singing the Tank. And Billy might have got cold feet after that unimpressive performance against old Derevchenko. Oh man, but that fight would have been fucking great. Talk about a rivalry between two French sluggers. Is the trilogy between Beterbiev and Bivol under contract? No, I don't think so. What's the difference when Wilder took legal action to get the trilogy with Fury, even though we wanted AJ Fury? Well, that was in a contract, right? I don't think Beterbiev and Bivol it has a contract for a trilogy fight. I don't think the Thurman fight is PBC though. No, it is. It's PBC tied together with the Australian promoter, right? The same one that always is with Tim Zhu. I'm rooting for Keith. Can't lie. He was always pretty entertaining. Oh, Keith's gonna win this fight easy, and then he's gonna fight Tim Zhu on a fucking pay-per-view fucking PBC card afterwards. JD, what's up? I'm rooting for Keitho, where David says, I think Murataliev is dangerous, but I think Virgil could probably beat him. Yeah, I mean, based on Virgil's last performance against Madrimov, I thought he looked way better than he did against Boholchuk. And I mean, obviously, Murtazalev killed Tim Zhu, but at this point, you got to ask yourself, what exactly was Tim Zhu? He's the same guy that got beat by Funduro. What would you do if you were Joseph Parker? Wait for Usyk to ball winner or take another tough fight in the meantime? The point is he's getting paid good money from Saudi Arabia to stay busy and take on good opponents. So I think you just keep doing what you're going to do, right? I mean, sure, you could wait, but one of the benefits he's had is that he's been busy and staying active, kind of like Dubois, right? What's up, Lily? So I think I would keep doing what you're doing. He's getting paid big money. Life is good. You know, they talked about possibly him facing AJ in a rematch. That shit would be good. I think fucking now's the time for him to jump on AJ. That would be a solid revenge win, right? To get that win against AJ. How do you Haney will do in his comeback fight with Ramirez? We talked about that card, and obviously, I think the Barboza Tio fight is probably the toughest fight, and the one that I could see being the upset. But to be fair, all three fights, the main guy could lose, right? The A side. I could see Rolly catching fucking Ryan Garcia, knocking him out with some wild fucking haymaker. And I can also see Ramirez beat fucking Haney. Even though, to be fair, I do think Haney should beat him and probably should beat him pretty convincingly, right? But I don't think he's going to knock him out. I think it's just going to be a unanimous decision victory for Devin Haney. He's going to have some good moments. If Ramirez comes in good shape and really aggressive, potentially he might drop Haney and have Haney asking himself some real questions in that fight, which for us would be what we want to see as well. We want to see how Haney's going to deal with getting hit, right? And how he deals with it if he's past it and able to cope with it. I don't see Rolly beating Ryan Garcia. Haney versus Tio is a good fight. Yeah. What are the chances of AJ getting in the mountaintop of the heavyweight division again, Sean? Slim to none, it looks like, right? At this point, based on that performance against Dubois, that performance was abysmal. I'm an AJ fan, right? I was hoping he was going to knock fucking Dubois out and then go on to face Fury in obviously a huge clash that we've been wanting. But with that performance, I sort of said, I wouldn't be so sad if he retired after that, because I would rather see him retire than go on to get his ass beat by other fighters afterwards. Kind of like, who was that other UK Olympian who ended up just becoming a fucking floor mat in the heavyweight division? Gold medal Olympian, I think he was, for the UK, and was just fucking terrible. Kind of like the French champion, right? Tony Yoka, right? Whatever happened to him? Also, fucking a waste of talent. But that card is decent, though. I'm not going to complain. I'm looking forward more to Stanionis Ennis fight than that card for sure. Stanionis Ennis is going to be a fucking great matchup. Really, really solid fight. I'm excited about that, especially if it's got some decent fights underneath of it as well. But let's see what else is going on. So here's Canelo saying everybody says he's smaller fighter, but I won titles in 4-weight classes, so I know great fighters can succeed at higher weights. Meaning that he's not underestimating Crawford. And really, that's key. If he wants to win that fight, he can't underestimate Crawford. Because I think Crawford is a better fighter than fucking Charlo. I think he's also more of a dog than Charlo. He's not going to roll over the way Charlo did. Not at fucking all. Audley Harrison. Thanks, JD. Yeah, that's him. Fuck, man. That dude, his career just became fucking, a joke. I might be in the minority, but I'm not completely convinced with Virgil Ortiz. He's got great heart, but he's a bit vulnerable with his chin. Well, that's true. Even though he did look good in the Madrimov fight, his chin never really became an issue. Not obviously like it had been in the Bohocuk fight, getting dropped twice. But I think also there's a bit of adjustment period to a new weight, bigger fighters, hard punchers, right? And he's shown in that fight, he looked a lot more like he did previously at 147. Bohocuk and Kabial are two guys that I could see get avoided a bit in their respective divisions. The good thing about Kabial is that obviously he's fighting in Saudi Arabia. What's up? Salute. And because of that, he's going to be put in fights, right? Like, I wouldn't mind seeing Parker versus Kabial. That would be a fucking great fight. Like, if both those guys are in a position right now. I also heard potentially seeing Kabial fight, what's his face? The Croatian kid. What's his face? You know what I mean? That also would be a great fight. Kabial versus him. Even Parker versus him. I mean, you put either one of those three dudes in against that competition, man, I'm not complaining. That Hrgovic, yes, thank you, Garden Snake. Yes, Hrgovic. That shit's dynamite. Like, Hrgovic versus Parker, Hrgovic versus Kabial, Kabial versus Parker. As a boxing fan, we can't lose because stylistically, those three fighters are just going to be a great matchup. Where are we? Garden Snake says, Bud has better talent than Jermell, but will he fill out as big as Jermell at 168? No, probably not. But Jermell, I don't think filled out very well at 168, to be fair. I thought he could have put on a lot more natural weight, right? And been stronger and more natural. But yeah, I think him and his team just did a terrible job, to be fair. To be fair, though, Sean, we are looking at Charlo as a complete dog before he folded against Canelo. No, we weren't. What was a dog? Like, what was his best win in his career? He already lost to Castano and lost to fucking Harrison. Neither one of those guys are fucking elite. Neither one of those guys people would fucking pick to beat Bud Crawford coming up from 147. Right? What part of his career did he ever show he was a dog? He had a good run in 154. A good run, but against who? Who did he beat? That's my point. He didn't beat any fucking elite fighters in that weight division. None. The biggest fight that he could have had at that weight class was fucking, what's his face? The big dude from Baltimore that just retired recently. Obviously, that would have probably been the best fight. Hurd, right? Castano beat Mal 7-5. First fight, I thought, me too. Willie Nelson and Hurd stopped Tony Harrison. Yeah. I mean, let's go Croatia. I'm not trying to hate on him. I'm just saying People talk about Inui and say, who's he beat? Who's he beat? Stephen Fulton, at this point, is a better fighter than anybody Charlo fought, right? I mean, Tony Harrison only got a victory because he beat Charlo. And then he was beating Charlo easier the second time around, fucking blew that fight by becoming reckless and getting knocked the fuck out, which was totally fucking like the fix was in. It was the most bizarre way to throw away a fight. He was winning even more convincingly because stylistically, he was too good of a boxer for Charlo. Castano, being an aggressive, short Argentinian fighter, went in there and beat him, even though he gave up every single advantage, right? I mean, Fulton is a two-weight world champion who was unified at 118 pounds. Charlo never beat any unified champions. Did he beat Banana? Who beat Banana? Maybe he beat Banana. I can't remember. Oh, he beat Banana. Okay, so he did beat one unified champion. My mistake. He beat Banana. But to try to compare Banana to fucking Fulton, I mean, come on. The only thing Banana did in his whole career was beat one fucking guy who was chinny as fuck to begin with. Like, and he was the underdog that was supposed to fucking be easy work. And then after that win, he went on to do exactly what we knew he was, be easy work and get fucking knocked out by everybody. I mean, fucking Jay Williams losing to him, fucking one of the worst fucking losses in boxing history. Hey, Sean, I know you're a Liverpool fan, but I'm Barcelona all the way. How do you see the Champions League so far? Well, at this point, it's interesting, right? Like, obviously, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool, fucking Munich. They're all good teams. I mean, Liverpool's playing PSG tonight. They could lose to PSG and then they'll be out. PSG will be in. And it's heavy hitters, right? Remember Liverpool was number one in Champions League, but at this point, you'd probably put them at number four, right? Recently, the way they've been playing recently, at least. So I think it's anybody's league this year for sure. Barcelona's look good, but they always so inconsistent, so young. So who knows what will happen? Who's Barcelona playing next? Like Liverpool is playing PSG. I'm not sure who anybody else is playing. I haven't followed it so much because in Taiwan the game started like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I never watch any Champions League games because it's like whatever. I can't fucking wake up knowing I have to work with little kids the next day at that time of the morning. Fulton was the monster before, but now they say Inui has beaten nobody. Exactly. And now Fulton going on to beat Figueroa in the rematch convincingly to become a two-weight world champion. Man, that fucking win, win has aged beautifully. Judges robbed Castano in the first fight. Yes, they did. Yeah, it's crazy how many Black Americans said Fulton would embarrass Inui. It turned out to be the complete opposite. Well, that's fucking what got my channel fucking closed, exposing John Boxing for saying the same stupid shit. Why do you think it's a red flag to be going the distance with Williams? Which Williams? I don't think it's a red flag. Didn't you say it was a red flag for the young kid to go the distance? I don't think it's a red flag. He won that fight easily. Is Canelo trying to impress the fans or impress his ego? Impress the fans in what way? At this point, Canelo doesn't need to impress the fans. He's a all-time great. What he's trying to do is cement his legacy and get paid. Oh, Barcelona Benfica. Ooh, Benfica, eh? Talk about like an underrated squad that always is super good. Who won the first game? I didn't even see the results. I don't even know what happened. But Benfica, man, they got some good players. Who you got, SGA or Joker for MVP? Oh, man, come on. We know SGA is going to get it, but Joker's the MVP. Like, look at his numbers across the board. There's nothing SGA is doing individually compared to Joker. He's beating him by 4 points in scoring, but then losing in rebounding, losing in assists, tied in fucking steals, losing in 3 point percentages, losing in field goal percentage, losing in a fantasy number thing by like 20. 20. So if you're playing fantasy fucking basketball, Joker has 20 points over fucking SGA as far as a fantasy player. There's no comparison, man. Like, Joker is fucking killing it. But we know that voter fatigue is what it is. The same way Joker lost to fucking Joel Embiid is the same reason he's going to lose to what's his face? To my man. Disconnect. Don't disconnect. Looks like my battery's dying. Can I connect to my Wi-Fi? I don't know. We'll see. Where are we? Cooper Flag was Duke's number one in the country. Cooper Flag is playing great. He's easily the number one player in the draft this year. People trying to push him out of that position as well for the two guys at Rutgers. How's Rutgers playing? Rutgers ain't even going to make the fucking NCAA tournament. Yet they got two guys that are better than Cooper Flag. Don't remind me of the rat move John pulled. It's enraging, Sean. Fuck, tell me about it. David, you talking about Dion Williams? You spelled Frieza wrong. They won 1-0 in Portugal after they gave Barca a red card. Rafina made a banger. Oh, okay. I think I did hear that. Joker is so much fun to watch. SGA from Canada. Yes, he is. And so is Murray. Canada is representing. I was so disappointed in Canada's performance this summer. Murray played terrible. Fucking terrible. SGA was great. But the problem is we don't have any big men. We got to do what the America did and sign fucking some dude from Africa or Europe to be our center, right? Like Joel Embiid. Can you imagine he went and played for the Americans? Like, the Americans are so desperate, they need to get a fucking African player to become American to represent them in center. Come on. That shit's fucking whack. Did you see Bill Haney called a reporter a piece of shit because of the way Devin was introduced at a face-off? Sean, what's your team in the NBA? I didn't say that, but, Bill Haney's a fucking mental case, so who's fucking surprised by that? I've always been a guy who followed players, not specifically teams. So, obviously, growing up, I was a Philadelphia 76ers fan, Dr. J. Also liked them with Iverson as well. Liked Atlanta with Dominique Wilkins. Liked Golden State with fucking Curry. Liked Dallas with Luka. Liked LA with Kobe. Now, fuck, man, they just made terrible fucking moves. Should never have fucking re-signed Embiid to that huge contract. They should have fucking traded him after he won the MVP. And signing Paul George, it's like, come on, man. As terrible as Paul George was playing in the fucking Clippers, you're going to sign him. Stupid fucking move. Now I'm sort of leaning towards being a Laker fan, even though I obviously like Joker in Denver. What a letdown this year. Fucking, I agree. I like the young point guard. He's good from Kentucky. I grew up in LA, man, so I've always been Lakers, but I understand they are hated. Well, it's like Boston and the Lakers, right? I mean, being a Philadelphia fan with Dr. J, fuck, I hated Boston and the Lakers. Those were the two hurdles I had to get by to win a title. They both played for Kentucky. Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky is going to win this year in March Madness, but I definitely think they could have a good little run. They don't have any star players. That's the problem, right? They're a good veteran team with older players. So you get like some maturity and solid play, but they don't got any superstars. But Arkansas with Coach Cal, that fucking that way just it doesn't win. You don't win that way just by getting 5 freshmen All-Americans trying to jam on a team with fucking terrible offensive schemes. Well, that's what they're hoping for, right? They would love the Lakers with fucking LeBron and Luca matching up with Boston in the finals. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't mind it, but I'm kind of hoping Joker gets back to the finals and beats Boston. Gannon boxing title video of Fannin this morning is Tank haters lied about Tank's low pay-per-view numbers. Sure, Tank's fans hated, or Tank haters hated on Tank, but all those LDBC, PBC fucking guys who said that Turkey's fucking fight card of the century did 45,000. That's totally true. These dudes are ridiculous. Ridiculous. And that Turkey promoters, rapists with a question mark. I don't know. How's the lady boy, Sean? I don't know. No lady boys in Taiwan. Man, this guy's ridiculous. How many pay-per-views did Tank sell? Well, they didn't talk about it, right? So you could assume that the numbers were low. Nobody thought that Tank Davis Lamont Roach was going to do high pay-per-view numbers. The rematch will do better. But the first fight, yeah, nobody's expecting big things from that shit. And for good reason. Why would you? Because you literally pulled a dude up from 130 pounds who wasn't even relevant or a big name, had just fought on fucking Pro Box previously. Good season for what it was. Glazer said it was low because they haven't come out yet. Of course, I didn't grow in the Bird Magic era, but there was a cool rivalry with Lakers and Celtics from 08 to 2010. Oh, well, when Garnett and Paul Pierce and those boys were with Boston, Rick Glazer, I bet, has it at about 60,000 pay-per-view buys. 60,000 would be real fucking low. If Tank Davis, Lamont Roach did 60,000, that is a fucking bust. A real fucking bust. Because all his other fights that were disappointing, like Martin and, Garcia, not like Ryan, but the other Garcia and Rowley and Cruz, they all did like about 120 to 180. Not good numbers, but not fucking 60. 60 would be, man, that'd be terrible. That would just tell you even Tank Davis fans were not fucking interested in that fight at all. Rick also said the Thurman Jarvis fight is going to be on YouTube on delay. Yeah, for free. Do you own any Creed fragrances, Sean? I bought a bottle of Green Irish Tweed yesterday. I fell in love. I don't have bottles because it's so fucking expensive, but I have like testers. How much did a bottle of that cost you? Like $2.20? Like, and then Taiwan, everything is more expensive because of taxes, importing fucking stuff. So, it's ironic that you said that, because what were some things that I'm going to buy? Look at that. For 10 mil, $40. But there's some things I'm going to buy recently. That other one by Creed. Yeah. So that's on my list to buy, just samples. I figure when you're spending that much money, I prefer to buy a sample, fall in love with it, and then if I need to spend fucking huge, insane money, at least I know exactly what I'm getting and I'm comfortable with it. But then I got so many samples and stuff, I don't know when I'm going to really buy a big expensive bottles because I got so much other stuff just to go through. PBC can't afford the live feed directly to watch on Amazon Prime. I heard that. That's insane. Yeah, PBC's broke. Sean, how would you rank Better BF versus Bivol 1, 2 versus Canelo Golovkin 1, 2? Barkley was my favorite. I love Barkley. I remember watching him play Akeem the Dream in college when he was at Auburn, and he literally was fucking the round mound of rebound. I saw Karl Malone play. I didn't even know who they really were, even though I followed college basketball like fanatically. And I watched those games because, of course, Pi Slamma Jamma Houston was fucking Drexler, fucking Elijah, and Barkley was fucking such a fat fucking blob, man. It was crazy to see him play in college at Auburn. Go watch some fucking highlights. The dude was fucking like three fucking something. He was huge. Um, it's been a while since I watched the Canelo Golovkin fights, but I might say that the better BF Bivol fights were better, right? Maybe better overall, I think, as far as the overall fight, but maybe it's just recency biased. I remember men's cologne testers as a kid. You'd get them in the mall or in stockings for Christmas, and magazines and shit, right? Like that shit was everywhere back in the day. Those samples last a long time. That's weird. Alex Perez's wife laughed at him losing. Really? Bitch. I got it. Payments from Sephora. Payments. See, there you go. That's the way to do it. That's too much money to pay up front. Like Bivol's wife. People are fucking sick. 10 milliliters is nothing. You're getting robbed. But that's what it is. Like, you tell me where you can get a tester and how much it's going to cost you. Like those bottles, like of 50 milliliters, 50, going to cost you fucking $200. So, it's no surprise that those guys who make those decanters charge you because they're looking to make a profit as well. So, but are you going to spend like $200, $300, $400 on a bottle of something you've never smelt? Or what are you going to do? Obviously, you could buy smaller ones, much cheaper, like 2 milliliters, but it's too small. Bill Haney crashing out. He's mad that Devin Haney hates. Hate is staying. Whatever. Blind buying fragrances is always a terrible idea. Exactly. So that's why it's better to do with the small decanters. I did small ones, like 2, but then I always feel like disappointed that I don't have more to actually give it a fair ride. Yeah, nobody respects guys who sue for battery. Do you have a signature scent, Sean? Currently, not really, because I'm going through so many scents, right, over the last year, 2. So lots of stuff I like. But living in Taiwan, right, most of the stuff that I'm going to wear, it's going to be summer scents because it's always so fucking hot. So a lot of the more robust, sweet, vanilla, gourmand type of stuff, I can't really wear that too much in Taiwan. It's the wrong country for that shit. So a lot of light scents, and of course, they don't last as long in your skin. I just saw that Boxing Voice that the Benavidez Bivol fight is not actually being finalized. They sent each other offers, but nothing yet. Oh, okay, maybe I do have a scent. What did I bought the decanters and I liked it, and somebody, I can't remember who, was praising it, and I bought a bottle off of online shopping in Taiwan, which wasn't too expensive. What is it? Hold on. It's here. Hi, Billy. Mancera. Cedric Boise. Somebody, obviously I heard a lot, and somebody was praising it in my comment section for one video that I did when I did the scent stuff. And man, it's fucking really good. I like it, and it's perfect for Taiwan hot weather and whatnot. So Cedric Boise, if you live in a hot country, that's just good. And as a you know just your staple scent, that shit is pretty easy to wear. Where are we? If Bivol beats Better BF again and beats Benavidez, will he be top 5 best light heavyweight ever? I always felt the light heavyweight division was pretty weak as a whole. Like when you go back and look at the top 3 or 4 guys, class. Underneath of that, I ain't that impressed. So I would say that he would definitely be top 10, but you know, obviously longevity would sort of add to his career as well. Don't you like two tone on that boxing voice? I don't know. Boxing voices went through so many people, some terrible. There was that black dude from Canada who was fucking cringe and terrible as fuck. PBC shill. Ness, obviously, Ness has his moments. He's better than he used to be. Back in the day, he was also fucking just a stupid guy who didn't fucking know shit about boxing. At least now he's come away from a lot of his stupid takes on boxing. The show got way funnier. Okay. Cedric Boise is a classic. It's true. It kind of smells like Aventus, but much cheaper. Like this bottle for me cost 60 something dollars for 50 ml, which isn't bad. Whereas fucking Aventus is going to cost how much? I like Aventus cologne. I would buy that. I've never smelled the black one that came out. Apparently, it's even better. But I like the Aventus cologne. I would buy a bottle of that for sure. It's really nice. I remember during COVID, TBV tried Lady Chan a lot. And how is she? She's so in love with AJ, it made her unbearable. Yeah. No surprise. But thanks everyone for jumping in. My phone is tethered to my computer is tethered to my phone and my battery is dying. So I should take this opportunity to say sayonara before it just cuts out on me. But thanks everyone. Lily says thanks very much. And we will see you soon. Obviously this weekend we do have some boxing. I'm not sure if there's anything Saturday night. I just did my prediction league. So what did I just do with that? Where is it? Come here, prediction league. Prediction league. Okay. So Thurman, I have by majority decision. Zarafa, Tapia, Kenshiro by 9th round TKO. Alaskago by majority decision. Awata by 6th round. Ball is fighting. But that's going to be fucking late Saturday, right? I got him winning by 11th round TKO. Kane, Herrera, Balata, Turner, Amel Williams is fighting. Oh, the Berlanga card. Okay, so that'll be in our time. Amel Williams, Berlanga, Hackett, and Ortiz. It's not a bad card. I mean, Jermaine Ortiz, good little fighter, solid. Obviously, Hackett lost, but is trying to bounce back. Berlanga, it should be an easy win. Amel Williams, a bit of a hype job, but it'll be interesting to see if he can have a good performance. But yeah, so maybe I'll go live Sunday, depending on that card and where it's going to be. I assume that card is going to be on DAZN, so that should be perfect, right? Like, what's it say? Let's see. It should be on DAZN. Do you guys know? Where's my DAZN? DAZN. Where are you? So many fucking apps in your phone. How do you ever find something? Did I get rid of DAZN on my phone? Oh, there it is. DAZN. Schedule. Sunday morning, my time. Nick Ball, prelims. Obviously, that's going to be early in the morning. Nick Ball. Williams. Baloney card. 6:30 my time it starts. So it's here. Yep. So Amel Williams is headlining that card. So So that means Ammo Williams headlines the card. Is him and Berlanga on the same card, or am I just confusing things? It would be surprising that Berlanga is headlining the card, or I mean, Ammo is headlining the card, but not Berlanga. You figure Berlanga would headline the card because obviously he's got way more name recognition after his Canelo Alvarez fight. But yeah, maybe I'm just fucking shit up. Let's go to BoxRec. I'm sure they'll tell me specifically. BoxRec, where are you? Are you okay, Lily? What's going on? Super middleweight. Berlanga. I don't know who the fuck he's fighting. Some dude I've never heard of in my life. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's weird. So Florida, Ammo Williams is headlining against Patrice Volney. Berlanga is under that. Jermaine Ortiz is under that. Jalil Hackett is under that. Amari Jones is on the fight card. Yeah, it's a good card. So I probably will be going live Sunday morning my time, Saturday yours. At least there's like 4 fights I don't mind watching. Yeah, so I guess I'll see you Sunday. Have a good week, everybody. Obviously, it's midweek here, Wednesday tomorrow. So, quite a bit of a week to go. So I'll see you soon. Thanks for jumping in, and have a good one. Peace out.